companies at the moment, the big credit crunch is really bad news. But for one company that's based in Cheadle, it's a different story. Now, Doug Bentley is a manager at Klarius Limited, and you've worked here for about 10 years now.
I've worked here 11 years now, so I joined the company on my placement year from Staffs University at Stafford, and then after my graduation I was offered a position in engineering, and I've worked my way up through the company during the last 10 years.
So what are you doing now?
I'm the technical centre manager, so I'm responsible for a team of 25 people, and we develop the new parts.
Why do you think that Klarius is doing so well?
I think the big change we've had in the last 18 months since we've had new ownership is that we actually have become customer focused, and everybody in the team's become empowered to make improvements and changes to make the company successful, and now it's paying dividends.
So why do you think exhausts as a business is doing well?
Well, actually, if you notice, people aren't buying new cars. That means people are holding on to second-hand cars a lot longer and having to repair them. And we're in the business of supplying those parts for cars that need repairs. We have a lot more customer tours than we used to. And actually, in my role, I have customer contact, which is something we never had in the past, where customers come and visit and make requests for us to develop products. And we've geared the department up to be able to react really quickly to that and produce new parts on demand.
So as a business that's flourishing, what would you say to, say, a business that's struggling?
I think you've got to just bite the bullet and become customer focused and implement some lean manufacturing improvements, which is what our business has done, and fortunately we've seen it pay off.
Now, it's not just close to home that Klarius is doing well. Paul Hanna is in charge of international business development. Why are exports going so well?
Well, principally because of the same reasons that Doug mentioned. A customer-focused direction for the company has meant that we're able to react to demands internationally, and because of that, customers are finding it easier to deal with us, and despite the news of how tough things are, we're enjoying the biggest sales that we've had for over 2 years, and they're still increasing. Britain is actually the only EU country that doesn't legislate for the exhaust and the catalytic converters to ensure that they're produced to the same standards when they're replaced as the original car. As a result of that, there are a lot of cheap manufactured exhausts and catalysts in the UK that frankly potentially damage engines, cause people to use more fuel, and cause a lot more pollution to the environment. And we're happy that we don't produce anything like that.
So would you claim that you're one of the few companies that actually produce exhausts properly?
In the UK, yes, absolutely.
The budget's just being announced, and apparently it's going to focus on green issues. So what would you suggest to Alistair Darling?
Well, actually, the most obvious green issue is to ensure that the cars that are on Britain's roads today, the cars which are already existing, are maintained properly so that they don't pollute. And the best way to do that is to enact European legislation to ensure that replacement exhaust and catalytic converters comply to the original manufacturer's specifications.
And same question that I asked Doug, what would you say to a company that isn't doing so well?
I think you have to focus on the obvious things. You have to focus on cash collection and inventories, and having done all those obvious things, you have to get to your customers and find out what they really need and make sure you're delivering it, because if you're not, someone else will be.